So here's what I did. I took two of the latest text-to-animation AI tools and I compared those to show you how it works and what they can do. So the first one is runwayml.com and the second one is pika.art. Now you have to keep in mind that AI's text-to-animation is relatively new for the average Joe on the street, but there are 4 lessons that I learned while compiling this video. And stay tuned that I can share with you my experience on how to animate with AI and what was the most important takeaways from this experiment. Okay, scratch 4 lessons, there are 5. I just thought of another one. The first one is that on day 1, one of my images already got flagged. More on this later though. 2, it's not perfect. It is still very new, so the AI is learning. So don't expect miracles yet. Number 3, AI can get weird. So you have the option to upload text only, image only, or text and image. And I'm finding right now that if it's text only, AI goes off on a tangent with its creativity. And the more specific you are, the better the results, but it still can get a little bit weird. And number 4 is something I didn't expect. Your video clips are only 3 or 4 seconds long. I don't know, for some reason I had this idea that I will get a 30-second clip out of AI. Maybe I was just ambitious. But you get only 3 or 4 seconds and you do have the option to extend with 4 seconds each time. But I'll show you what I mean with that. And then the last lesson, number 5 that I learned. And this is something basic, but if you combine AI tools, it is still more powerful than using only one at a time. So for instance, if I want to make an animation in future, I will probably put together images from both of these tools instead of just picking one, because they both have pros and cons. Okay, let's start with runwayml.com. I was able to create a free account. It's a very straightforward looking app like most of these softwares. You create an account, you log in, and the interface is really straightforward. It's prompting you to ask whether you want to start with text or with an image, but it doesn't really matter which one you choose because you can change it while you are busy. So when you start with Runway, you start with, I got 105 seconds. Those seconds are clip seconds. It's not how long you take to work on it or how long it takes to generate an image. That takes a bit of time. It is how many seconds you've used. So if I make one video, I use 4 seconds, I'm down to 101 seconds. So it's straightforward. You start playing, you start typing a text, you start uploading an image, and you see what it does. Okay, so let's test it. I've put in some text to say there's a girl running through a flower field. She's got red curly hair, she's got an olive green dress, her puppy is running next to her, they're both happy, and give it your best shot. It takes a few seconds to generate, so once it's done, this is what it came up with. I think it's pretty decent. If you click here, you will see you can play. I think it's a very decent little video. It kind of gave me what I asked for. If the animation starts, the legs are looking a little bit weird, and it's very slow. The option to extend is right here where you can see extend 4 seconds. You click on it and you say, okay, now add it, regenerate, and then you wait again. Now there are tools where you can play around. So you've got the option of a camera view, and here you can tilt or pan to the left, pan to the right, zoom in or out, so you can play around with this. Then you have the option of speed. So how much or how fast do you want the animation to be? The higher the number, the more animations you will get, but the more distorted it can become. A nice feature is that you can choose this option here to add style, and this will tell the AI what kind of style you have in mind if you prompt it with a text. Here you can see on the left hand side I chose a cartoon style, and on the right hand side I chose a pencil sketch. Okay, now let's go to Pika. With Pika, same, you create a free account, you start off. At the moment, Pika is still free because it's in the beta version, but I'm expecting an upgrade coming very soon. I haven't been prompted to upgrade at all, and I've been playing on it almost daily at this point. The interface is very straightforward. You don't even have to click text or image. You just see right here at the bottom, description, start typing whatever you want, and there's an option to upload an image. I'm now giving the same prompt to Pika than I gave to runwayml about the little girl running through a field. It takes its time to generate, and this is the final result. It's scary. I don't know what is going on here, and don't think that this is always the case with, Pika is better than Runway. I think it just depends on the AI and how it's learning. I obviously don't like this very much, so I'm not even going to extend it. Okay, so this is the text to animation. What happens if we upload an image without any description? Okay, let's go back to Runway. This is an image that I've uploaded without any description. This is the result at the end. You can see that there's not a lot of animation going on because it just takes whatever is in the image and it tries to animate those objects, but without any prompt, it doesn't really know what to do with it. If I now go to Pika, this is the result that I'm getting. Now let's look at text and an image. I'm back to my curly hair girl running through a flower field. But this time I've gone to Midjourney, created an image that I liked, and these were the 4 options that I got. So I downloaded this one and I took it to Runway, uploaded it, and kept the description exactly the same than the one that I used last time when I just used the text. And then this is the result that I'm getting. You can see it's much better because it doesn't have to come up with the image, it just animates what you've provided. And I think this is much easier for the AI to do while it's still in the early phases of text to animation. When I go to Pika, it kept my image, it's also animating it, but you can see the face is starting to get a little bit distorted and the leg does something funny. So in both instances, I'm going to add 4 seconds and see what we can come up with. I don't like what it's doing. The face is being distorted a little bit more. The legs are not really okay. And in Pika, the same tools that you have in Runway, you get in Pika. You can use the camera option to tilt up or down or pan or zoom in and out. You have the option to speed up the animation. And then there's also another very nice option that I interpret as the higher you get to 25, the more you want AI to stick to your image. The lower the number, the more freedom you give AI to come up with its own kind of interpretation. I didn't like what it came up with when it was a lower number, so I increased it, and it's kind of sticking to the image, but it's still like it's distorting it quite a bit for me. Okay, then putting everything to the test. So I've added a couple of images. I was working on a project recently about the Day of the Dead, and I just used those images to save on time, and I animated them with Runway and I animated them with Pika, and I tried to put together like a 1-minute story. I asked ChatGPT to write up a quick story. I chucked all of that into 11 labs for a voiceover, and then I just pieced it all together to get a quick 1-minute story. Have a look at the Runway animation here.
In the heart of a small Mexican village, the air was thick with the scent of marigolds and the somber notes of a mariachi band. The Day of the Dead had arrived, and the graveyard was alive with a haunting beauty. Tombstones adorned with candles and sugar skulls cast eerie, flickering shadows that danced across the weathered stones. Amidst the melancholic atmosphere, a man named Carlos stood alone, gazing at a photograph of his beloved Isabella. He had loved her for as long as he could remember. Fate had played a cruel trick on them, for now Isabella lay dying, her life slipping away like sand through an hourglass. Desperation clung to Carlos like a shroud as he sought a way to save the woman he loved. In a hushed tone, he approached a mysterious old woman known for her knowledge of the otherworldly. She whispered cryptic incantations, revealing an unsettling choice.
So what do you think? By the way, all of these images are created from Midjourney. So now let's look at the Pika video that I put together with a different storyline, and you can compare for yourself how they look. And then I'll wrap up the video with 7 points on how these two compared and how you can help yourself to animate videos in future. Have a look at the Pika video.
In the heart of the enchanting Mexican village, the Day of the Dead was once again celebrated. The air was filled with the fragrance of marigolds, and the lively notes of a mariachi band drifted through the streets. Inside the cozy establishment, a mother and father sat across from each other at a candlelit table. As they clinked their ethereal glasses filled with spectral wine, their eyes held a melancholic but tender glow. The memory of their young son, Marco, who had disappeared into the shadows of the night years ago, weighed heavily on their hearts. Something extraordinary happened. Emerging from the shadows of an alleyway, a young boy, no older than he was when he disappeared, stepped into their path. "Marco?" the mother whispered, her voice a ghostly whisper. The boy nodded, a faint smile crossing his lips. In his small hand, he held a marigold, the same flower they had used to remember him each year. Lost and wandering the streets, he had unknowingly crossed the bridge to the land of the shadows. He couldn't return with the others on the Day of the Dead because he had never truly died. Tears of happiness flowed freely down the bony cheeks of the reunited family. As they stepped onto the bridge, the marigolds they carried illuminated the path before them, casting a warm and radiant light over their journey to eternity, where they would finally be together again, forevermore.
Okay, so what do you think? So these are the 7 takeaways for me on how these two tools overall compared, but also how the experience was for me to animate with AI. Okay, number 1. In my experience, Runway was quicker than Pika to generate the video. I waited at least half the time that I waited for Pika for my images. And it was 4 seconds that it generated, whereas Pika generated 3. Number 2, I found Runway to be more intuitive than Pika. I was very partial to Pika actually from the beginning because I heard about this first and I was playing on it and I thought it's really cool, and then I heard about Runway, but I actually was more impressed with Runway. So if you just compare these 2 images where that was text to animation between Runway and Pika, you can see that Runway ML was definitely way more intuitive. Number 3, it is early days, so manage your expectations. I went in with the same expectations I had from Midjourney because Midjourney is blowing my mind every day. You give it a prompt and it comes up with the most amazing designs. I had that expectation from A.I Animation and it did not deliver. It gave me 3 seconds or 4 seconds. I expected 10, 15, and even if it did give me those seconds, I input an image of a little girl running and I am imagining in 4 seconds she can move from point A to point B running with her dog jumping next to her. Instead, what I got is a little bit of movement, weird distorted legs, a distorted face. There's movement, but is she running? Is her dog happily jumping next to her? Manage your expectations. As AI is learning, I think you will get much better animation out of it. And also, it depends on your prompt. I've tried different prompts and I got different results, but none of them blew my mind yet. Number 4, which is kind of linked to number 3, when you manage your expectations, you do need patience. Very rarely will your first image be the one that you absolutely love. So often you have to regenerate the image or the animation 3-4 times before you actually like the animation that you get as a result. And remember now on Runway, I started with 105 seconds. So if I'm not happy with an image and I recreate it 3-4 times, that's 16 seconds done. I'm not going to get that back. And then I want to extend it maybe by another 4 seconds. Then you go down to 20 seconds. So it took me 20 seconds, but all I have is a 8-second video at the end. Number 5, images deemed inappropriate will be flagged. So on Runway, this image of mine got flagged. I can't tell you why, because they didn't tell me. I just got this message and it just said that, and I tried it with the image only and then with the image and text, but it didn't want to do anything. And I don't know if it's because of the skulls in the picture or because the flowers look like blood. My text prompt initially was, this lady is from the story, she is dying, and I was saying spirits are floating to the sky. Runway did not want to do it. Pika, however, had no issues with it. It changed a little bit of the cartoon, but it obliged. Number 6, and I kind of already touched on it, but I'm impressed, but my mind's not blown. I really expected a lot more, and I know there are a lot more tools, so I'm going to keep trying different text to animation tools to see whether there's one that stands out, or maybe the AI is just still learning. Maybe these two are going to be fantastic if it has a little bit more time to learn. As with any AI, there's always an option either on the home or explore to see what images or animations other people created. And I take a lot of my inspiration there because you can see how they prompted it, what they got out of it, and maybe steal some ideas. Well, not steal, take some ideas from there. So if I find more tools, I will definitely keep on making videos to show you how they compare, and you can decide for yourself which one you think you will be able to work with. Tried different prompts on both of them. My top pick is still Runway because I managed to get better results out of it, but Pika didn't have the limitations or flagged my pictures. Maybe it will come in at some point, I don't know. And then number 7, it takes time. I probably sat for over 2 hours generating animations on both of these platforms, and obviously, as I mentioned before, it takes some time to upload. So I ended up having another tab open with emails and answering emails while I was waiting for all these images to upload, then to go to a voiceover and then piece it together on a video editor took me a good 2 hours. So it's not the worst in the world. If it's something short that you want to do, you can totally do it, but just bear in mind it's not a quick fix. So that's your comparison between Runway ML and Pika. I hope it helped that you understand how the animation works, and in the process figuring out which of these two you might actually end up using. Let me know in the comments if you know about more tools that I can go and test, and then I can share my results with you or compare more tools. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.